Not only is David Phelps a name, but his voice has moved people, uplifted them, and reverberated through worship-filled venues. He gained notoriety as a standout tenor for the Gaither Vocal Band due to his remarkable vocal range, emotional depth, and capacity to elevate any song to a moving experience. Behind the scenes and the harmonies, however, Phelps's path took a personal and spiritual turn that caused him to leave the group several times. A new chapter in his life and music career began in 2017 with his most notable exit, examining David Phelps's changing purpose, familial obligations, spiritual calling, and the subtle yet significant change in his artistic trajectory. This essay delves deeply into the true reasons behind his departure from the Gaither Vocal Band. It's a tale of change, faith, and choosing purpose over public recognition. In addition to his strong tenor voice, David Phelps is renowned for his lyricism, dynamic range, and solo work. As his solo career took off, he desired the time and freedom to record more personal projects, go on solo tours, and discover music other than the Gaither Vocal Band's conventional Southern gospel sound. Although it doesn't always fit with the group's identity, he frequently characterized his solo music as a fusion of pop-infused gospel, classical music, and inspiring elements. Priorities for the family in his life. David has always stressed the value of family. The Gaither Vocal Band requires a lot of traveling and time away from home. Throughout interviews, he stated that he wished to spend more time with his wife and 4 children, particularly as they grew older. He once stated that a major factor in his choice was the allure of the home and the duties associated with parenthood. Knowing David and what he contributed to the Gaither Vocal Band is essential to comprehending why he departed. David Phelps was nurtured in a very religious and musically minded family after being born in Texas in 1969. Both his mother and father were devout Christians. His mother taught English and his father taught music. Having received classical training and a degree in voice performance from Baylor University, he could have easily pursued a career in secular music. However, the nexus between ministry and music always captivated David. He created waves right away with his operatic control, remarkable range, and unadulterated enthusiasm when he joined the Gaither Vocal Band in 1997. In contrast to many conventional Southern gospel tenors, Phelps brought a more expansive style that included Broadway dynamics, classical music, and cinematic emotion, changing not only performances but also many listeners' spiritual experiences. He gained fame for his versions of songs like Nessun Dorma, O Holy Night, No More Night, and End of the Beginning. Possibly the most compassionate explanation for David Phelps's departure from the Gaither Vocal Band was his family. David is a father to 4 children and a husband. He frequently missed birthdays, life events, and ordinary moments when traveling with Gaither, spending months away from home. The life of touring was not only hard, but also selfless. David discussed the emotional toll candidly in one interview, saying, "I missed a lot. I once discovered that time wasn't slowing down when I just looked around at my children. In all honesty, I needed them, and they needed me." His departure from the band was motivated as much by pursuing a solo goal as it was by preserving his marriage and fatherhood, since he has always described his wife, Lori, as a rock of support. In 2017, David decided to be really present, play catch in the garden and sing in the kitchen, instead of performing in front of crowded theaters when his youngest children were still in their formative years. A legend inside a star, gospel icon, Bill Gaither has led the Gaither Vocal Band, which has always been a ministry rather than just a band. Despite being a rotating cast of vocal prodigies, David Phelps was a distinctive voice of the 2000s and 2010s. He changed the sound, attracted new listeners, and reimagined what gospel music could sound like in the modern era. He frequently served as the emotional center of shows rather than merely providing backing vocals. What makes a successful, well-liked and respected somebody at the top of this game choose to leave? Spiritual guidance and artistic expression. Although it remained consistent with Gaither's ministry's objective, Phelps felt compelled to venture into uncharted artistic and spiritual realms, deeper, more intimate topics that mirror his own. spiritual development, and artistic explorations. In spiritual purpose, David Phelps's departure was a redefining of ministry, not a departure from it. Although David's solo music started to reflect a more expansive and introspective spiritual perspective, the Gaither Vocal Band's roots are in Southern gospel traditions and evangelical Christianity. In order to address issues that are sometimes difficult to address in conventional gospel styles, he began writing and singing about uncertainty, fear, identity, renewal, and divine mystery. Songs such as Heaven's Shore, Water, and Ghost Town, Freedom album demonstrated a man interacting with God not only via worship, but also with grappling sincerity and introspection. He was not drifting from God, although he was getting closer. Folks weren't used to it. The allure of the individual trip, David Phelps left primarily because he wanted to focus entirely on his solo career. By the early 2010s, he had put out a number of hit solo albums, including Life is a Church, Revelation, One Wintry Night, and Freedom. The general norms of Southern gospel did not apply to these CDs. A combination of orchestral arrangements, modern Christian sounds, uplifting music, and profoundly reflective words were all explored. Numerous psalms with intricate arrangements, distinctive harmonies, and lyrics that sounded like journal entries set to music demonstrated David's musical inventiveness. Phelps once stated in an interview, "I started to realize I had stories to tell in ways that needed more space and freedom than I had. There was limited opportunity for creativity or individuality due to the Gaither schedule's rigorous touring and strictly structured musical style. In order to connect with audiences through more intimate performances, to record on his terms, and to create without boundaries, he made the choice to step away and follow his own path. David's creative spirit was aching to soar. An honorable joint choice, David Phelps departed amicably with the band, including Bill Gaither. It wasn't because of a dispute or disagreement. Indeed, Bill Gaither publicly commended David's skill and moral character and invited him to play or get together occasionally. Achieving good terms, David and the Gaither team's mutual respect and support was one of the most admirable parts of his departure. There was no scandal, no struggle, no drama. Bill Gaither called David one of the most gifted vocalists in Christian music and invited him to return on multiple times for duets and reunion performances. When something breaks, people occasionally depart. According to one Gaither insider, something was calling, so David left. In the music industry, this is uncommon. Additionally, it reveals a great deal about David and Bill's personalities as two guys who are more concerned with following their calling than with sticking to contracts. Was life after Gaither valuable? David Phelps has had a successful solo career since leaving. In the United States and overseas, he has given sold-out tours. He has created studio CDs, numerous live DVDs, and even holiday specials. He has complete creative independence thanks to his own production firm and independent label. His musical explorations include jazz-influenced arrangements, original worship compositions, Broadway-style narrative, and classical crossover work. David, the artist, the man, and the worshiper, is the reason he has a devoted following that tracks his path, not Gaither. Was leaving the safety and notoriety of the Gaither empire worth it? Given that he achieved fulfillment, family, and independence, David would probably answer yes. Possibly the last exit, but not the first. Notably, David Phelps has previously left and returned to the Gaither Vocal Band. After serving from 1997 to 2005, he returned in 2009 and stayed till 2017. Fans are now speculating if he may make a comeback in the future. It's evident that the door is still open, even though the answer isn't conclusive. The group and David have a cordial relationship, and reunion appearances are not out of the question. However, it doesn't seem likely that he would return permanently, given the momentum his solo work is generating and the way his message is changing. His journey now focuses on moving forward in faith rather than on looking back. What is unique about David? What distinguishes David Phelps from other Christian performers? Vocal ability. He has exceptional control over a range of 3 octaves in his voice. Integrity. He departed while his popularity was at its height, not for attention, but for a reason. Authenticity. He shares his tale through music, revealing his hardships. Innovation. He reinvents gospel music, breaks conventions, and combines genres. Faithfulness. His songs continue to have a worship foundation even when his followers follow David instead of merely listening to him, not for sensationalism or celebrity rumors, but for the reality that his music and life portray legacy in motion. David Phelps, who will be 55 in 2024, is not slowing down. He continues to tour, record, and push the frontiers of his creativity. Above all, he continues to raise his family, support up-and-coming artists, and follow his calling. He left behind more than just a string of hits or standout vocals, a deeper voice, the one that drew him back into the mystery of genuine faith and life, and away from the lights is the source of this life. When the mission and the music come together, meet the departure of David Phelps from the Gaither Vocal Band. It was not a last resort, it was a realignment of his calling, his work and his principles. David stayed true to himself. In a society when artists are expected to remain current, he loved to find sunlight in his home, his soul, and his creativity. In a society that was fixated on spotlights, David's narrative serves as a reminder to those who have followed his path that the most significant acts of faith aren't always audible. They are sometimes small moves in the direction of something bigger. Even though he no longer performs nightly beneath the Gaithers, his current ministry may be the most potent one ever, note by note, family by family, heart by heart. That is a story that is still being written. David Phelps's exit from the Gaither Vocal Band makes a subdued yet impactful statement in a society that exalts celebrity, quick success, and unceasing attention. Calling comes before comfort, family comes before celebrity, and genuineness above praise. David stayed still, even though he was done, because he was being pulled into something different, something calmer, maybe deeper, but no less precious. He left. At one time, the cadence of spotlight performances, rehearsals, and tours had become incompatible with his heartbeat. And in that instant, he made the brave choice that few artists do, to follow orders over opportunities. Neither a scandal nor an emotional collapse accompanied his departure. It was a well-considered religious stride towards spiritual and artistic liberation. By doing this, he provided thousands of followers with something much more precious than a new album or tour date, a demonstration of what it means to live intentionally. David Phelps's voice will always be associated with iconic performances of The End of the Beginning and No More Night. To those who have followed his entire career, however, he is more than just a singer. As a parent, he selects his children. His marriage was his top priority. An artist who resisted having his value determined by the industry, even away from the largest stages. A worshiper who never stopped seeking God in every word and note. Beyond only gospel music, his journey has a message. It speaks to everybody who has ever been caught between the whispers of God and the demands of the world, or between achievement and soul. It's acceptable to change course, to take a break, to safeguard what's most important. David reminds us, it's possible that leaving something excellent behind could indicate that you're creating room for something better, rather than failing. We're invited along as fans, so we're not left behind. David continues to offer us himself through his solo music, personal performances, and candid lyrics, possibly more so today than ever. His songs convey more than just harmony. They also convey religious aim, emotion, and narrative. Perhaps he won't be performing on a Gaither stage every weekend. His voice, however, still does what it always does. In hearts, sanctuaries, living rooms, and headphones, it heals, inspires, and uplifts. David Phelps left a group, but he also completely embraced a life of honesty, originality, and purpose. And we thank him, not just to claim him, for that.